What are some critical matters for a buyer acquiring an existing building to use for buyer's own operations?
Well, this is where we get back to your doctor. If you've got a buyer that is going to use the property for his own business, then of course, fundamentally, it's important that the property can be used for that business.
Yep.
And you are right. There is sometimes a distinction in various zoning ordinances of different municipalities between a standard business use, small business use, medical use, and other kinds of office type business. Some of them deal with parking, as you noted, and some of them deal with other circumstances. So a buyer does need to know, first of all, that he can use it for its intended operations. There are a couple of ways of handling that. You can ask the municipality. You can ask the municipality formally to issue a zoning letter to you, and you can also obtain, in many circumstances, an endorsement of the title policy that at least identifies what zoning, type of zoning the property is part of. In addition to those kinds of legal requirements, you also want to make sure that functionally the building suits your purposes. And in order to do that, you need to actually do a careful property inspection. Look at the configuration. If you're planning on buying an industrial building and using part of it for office space, make sure that the electricity is available in that part of the building and the other kinds of systems can be put in. And if they aren't there, get some kind of an idea of how much it's going to cost to fit it out for that kind of purpose. If you're buying property that, for instance, you're going to use for manufacturing or assembly, you want to make sure that the ceilings are high enough for your crane,
right,
or your hoists. And if you've got heavy construction equipment, you want to make sure that the floor can bear the weight of your equipment,
right,
without causing cracks in the concrete or problems that are even more severe.
right. Yeah, on the industrial spaces, the floors come in all different depths, and if you have a super high ceiling, like 30 feet, and you're putting real heavy automotive parts, you want to make sure that that's a reinforced floor, and that's not always something that the tenant or the buyer might be thinking about when they're looking. And you've got to understand all of your requirements for everything that you do, because also the height of the room tells you how much you can stack and how much you can store in there. So then that's also critical too, that people sometimes forget to mention, or it might need to be all air conditioned. I had that happen recently. We're out on tour, and it's like, oh, it needs to be air conditioned. I'm like, okay, these buildings are out, this building's in. So, okay.
So in addition to the building, one other thing, if you're going to be, for instance, parking a lot of equipment outside, you should make sure that there are no prohibitions that the municipality has imposed to that kind of outdoor parking over an extensive period of time, because it's really hard to move big trucks someplace else and bring them back every single day.
Right. Or they might not fit in if you don't have a high enough ceiling. You thought you're going to put them inside the building. If they're only 12 or 14 feet, they might not fit. I mean, there's a lot of things. You're right. I think it's important too for real estate agents to have some understanding of these zoning codes, because otherwise they're going to get themselves in big trouble, I think.
Yep. And the codes change, pretty frequently. And they do vary from one municipality to the other. So the fact that you are fairly confident, if you've got an existing building, if you're fairly confident as to what you can do in one municipality in Hazel Park, it doesn't mean that you will be able to do exactly the same thing in Clinton Township.
Exactly. Yes, yeah. And I was looking at some zoning codes actually yesterday, and the city of Troy's are really easy to read. R1, this is what allowed. But this one, I couldn't even find them. I'm like, geez, oh Pete, it's like a treasure hunt going through there to this other municipality, trying to find the zoning codes. But anyways, and then I called him and I got it over the phone. I
Well,
like to
that's
look
the
at it.
easiest way to do it.
I know, but I like to look it up myself so I can see it.